But think about the religious and spiritual opportunities to be had in Mesa Verde or Canyon of the Ancients. There are four. I met a woman in Denny's, lived here all her life, had never been to Mesa Verde. We have fourth graders who've never been to the National Monument or to the National Park, and that's criminal. It's just plain criminal. But I think about the way that our faith can be so much richer by going to these places and having brother and sister Native American people to tell us their Aboriginal stories and to share spirituality that way. I mean, the whole land is sacred, and we don't understand what is here. But more and more we're understanding that ecosystems have to be contiguous. And I'm the white guy, so I can't tell you this, but my goodness, there has to be cultural integrity as well to places, that supply routes and travel routes and trade routes and hunting grounds. It's like somebody coming into this church and saying, you know what, you only use the sanctuary. You don't need the classroom. You don't need the kids program. We're going to chop it in half because that's all you use.
There was one sentence that really struck me in there was when the Dalai Lama was talking and said, that he didn't care if you were Buddhist or not. He said, what I believe is that we have to have ethical people. Mm-hmm. And I just think ethics also includes taking care of the earth.
Absolutely.
I just struggle with that idea of the dominance over our environment. Mm-hmm. And I know people like to quote the Bible in that, but I think it's all backwards. It's like an ethical human being who really cares is going to be one who takes care of this earth for future generations.
That's what Laudato Si, I come back to that as one of the things that the Pope encourages people to do is to fall in love with the earth, with God's creation, and realize we're a part of it.
But I still wonder what the original inhabitants of these places could teach us if we had the time and the stillness. Because it literally is going into a cathedral or a church that we don't recognize as such, but other people do. And who am I to say you only need that much land for your sacred place? And what are we missing by not learning those stories when they will be shared, when we've earned the right to understand? But there is such richness out there that that we may be ignoring the Sistine Chapel and not recognizing it.
The idea of spirituality is, so many studies have been done now with children about the difference in their behavior when they are exposed to the outdoors, when they have outdoor adventures, or whether it's a camp or whatever it is of being in the wilderness, that it gives them a totally different perspective of what life can be. And that's definitely across any religion. It doesn't even matter
Right.
how they're raised with that, but the idea of being outdoors in the wilderness to where they have those experiences changes their life many times. They may go on to do something totally different after they have learned what it's like to spend some time in the wilderness.
This sounds like the clergy that I am. I think about the many, many times that Jesus went away from the crowds, went away from his followers, and went into the wilderness to talk to God, to make the connection. If there weren't national parks and national monuments and preserved wilderness areas, where can you go to get that amazing connection to God? And for a lot of people, they may not ever have the opportunity to come to Canyons of the Ancients or Bears Ears, but there is some real security in knowing that it exists and that I could. And it is absolutely in line with the Christian world perspective that there have to be those places to make those connections.
Well said.
I don't even know if I could add to that.
Yeah,
I
can
kind of,
top that.
me either. I kind of just come down to kind of pivoting or kind of playing off what you said is just that beautiful verse, be still and know that I'm God.
Amen.
And I can't get still in the world that we live in unless I can make my way out into those places that you're gonna go tomorrow. It's hard to get that distraction away from us. That I believe public lands are an essential American value. And if we can't protect this value, then who are we as a people? And by that, I also believe when these were set up, these national parks and then the monuments and the other public spaces, for the enjoyment of the average person. And what I see is we are becoming more and more a class of people who some people have it all. And I'm afraid those are the people who will end up buying and just making money off of our legacy. This is our public land. So I think we should not let Zinke or any politician, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, come in and mess with that.